Hey folks, ET here coming at you with the week ahead look with a few tickers. And the first one we are going to take a look at is Amazon. Amazon finally broke out after a long period of consolidation there on Friday. And I think this could see some continuation, but we're going to go ahead and talk about what we see. First and foremost, all this time here that it was just kind of sitting in place a little bit. Sentiment really wasn't too much of anything. It was just kind of flat, slightly bearish, but more neutral while we just kind of ranged there. Finally saw our first green bar of customer sentiment, our first little bit of bullish there. So if we see any upwards momentum there, then we know we might break out a little bit further. Important levels to watch. 187.50, 187.50 is a positive gamma level. If price reaches that and bounces, then it's got some room to the upside all the way up to this 190. 190 is going to be the spot that we're really going to need to struggle to pass. If we pass that, then we get up to this 200. Well, we'll start with 195 before we get up there. But what we're looking for here are dips to 187 and a hold. All right, if we cannot hold 187.50, we want to look around the 183 range for dip holds, and I'll show you why. We'll go ahead and grab its dark pool real quick right here. Grab its dark pool and show you this 183.85. That's right around that same spot. So really, we want to hold 183 or high 182 at any given point on any dips. And we also want to see some continuation. All right, we want to see continuation on our customer sentiment towards the upside. So those are our levels we want to hold for any upside. We start to lose those, then 175 is back in play again as a gamma pull right down there, or 182, 181, which we already talked about there. So that 183 range is where we're looking for if it has a very bad red day, and then we want to see it cross 187.5 again to get up to that 190. We pop over and hold over 190, and I don't just mean one candle. I mean if we hold over that for a period of time, then we have even more breakout potential. So that is Amazon. Very simple look. All right, we're not looking for anything crazy. We're looking to long the pullbacks as long as it wants to continue, and as long as the market is really willing to have some continuation as well. Finally broke out there, so interesting to see. We just want to point out the same things. We know where our dip is in that spot that we're looking for. 187.50 is our first that we want to see hold. Round 183 is the second. We want to see our customer sentiment go up as it goes on as well, to give us some more confidence in that long. We lose all these, we're coming back down to 175 probably, but I'm looking for upside on this one this week. Let's see how that pans out. Our next up is Meta. Now, Meta is a bit of a tricky one because what we really want out of Meta is a really nice run to 515 for a short. I'm looking short side here mainly because its sentiment is on the downhill slope. It waned a little bit on Friday. For the most part, it's in that bearish territory right now. So what I'm really looking for is to see a downside move towards this 490, but I'd like to go ahead and look at its gamma overall over here, which does match some support resistance levels on our AI generated ones. But I will say that when you draw them out here, if you go to a smaller time frame, you lose customer sentiment. All right. So when you're going here, if you switch to a smaller time frame, let's say the 5 minute, you'll get a little bit better look there, but it does remove customer sentiment from you. So when you get the support resistance, this makes a little bit more sense right here. We got a support right here at 493. We'll go ahead and add our gamma levels real quick, and I'll show you how we can do that on smaller time frames. Just got to keep that customer sentiment in mind. So for the most part, what I'd like to see is just an absolute rip upwards through a lot of these levels and a repel off of 515. Now we'll go ahead and dig in right here to our gamma to see. We lose 495 if we can't hold it. There is room all the way down to 470, which is crazy. We could, however, just kind of waffle between 495 and 500. Doubt that's going to happen. Meta moves a lot more than that. But what I would really like to see is it to get up here into this range here. Our biggest pull for this week is 505. So if we dip too far below, then we can target 505. What I'd like to see is take the short side down, not holding 495, and go down. All right, we'll take a look at our aggregate real quick as well. That's where that big 515 that we see when we pull it there as well, with our same pull around 490. So we're really not that far from here. If for some reason we can't get up above the 490, the 495, sorry, Then we have this pull down here to 490, not too far away. This is an interesting one for me, is this is a wait and see what happens. If we get a ton of downside, we could see that 470, but what I'm hoping for is that because we have this larger pull up here at 520, we get up close to it to 515 for a nice short. Now, I just want to show you how I plan these out as we go along as well, because I don't like to have a long or short thesis necessarily. I like to have a levels thesis when I'm looking at the gamma. So plain and simple, if for some reason we just ramp up and we rip and we get above 515 and we hold, then I'm going to target 540 for longs as long as we continue to hold that 515. If we repel off of this 515, to the downside instead of the upside and we stay below, I'm going to target each level here for a place to trim. Our first one is 510. That's a $5 drop. 505. That's even a large. That's another $5 drop. 495 is an even larger drop. So I just want to show kind of how I look at that when I see these opposing bars on either side. So I will remain patient. If for some reason we absolutely just drop and head down to these levels, then I will look to long, obviously. So that's just a quick kind of rundown as to how I view these things as gamma goes along, as we're looking at that. And to find the support, the resistance near it, I just go to our AI generated levels there and kind of drill down on different time frames until I can find things that match. Just trying to give you a decent picture. So that is meta for now. We do have a both ways play there. We've kind of drawn things out. And I will say there are days where shorts make more sense and longs will make more sense. And that really comes down to how the market is behaving that day. If we have a red day across the board, if we have a day that just everything is pulling back a little bit, then shorts obviously make more sense. And if we have a nice green day where things are all kind of trending upwards, then we know that we have those longs in there. Meta is a bit mixed, but I kind of showed that on purpose with it having some mixed data because it really does have a big green repel bar there that has interest, that has my interest. And I wanted to point out how to kind of play it when you're looking at the longer term stuff when you have a red bar on either side when you're looking for a long or a short on it. All right, next up is Microsoft. All right. Now, Microsoft has also been trending slowly upwards with its customer sentiment. As you can see, we've seen a rise there, a little bit of consolidation, but we've also been running really hot lately. We've seen our first positive bar. What's interesting to me with Microsoft is we do have some lower gamma pulling below price, about $4, and then we've got some more even further down at 435. We do have a positive, huge positive level at 440 and one at 430. So this is a both ways play for me. My first thing that I would like to do is I would like to see it retrace down to 440 for a long if it holds. If it breaks 440, then 430 would be my long spot for a hold. That's $19 away. That is quite a big gap, but we have seen things move pretty quickly. Not sure on its upside potential quite yet. Past this, gamma is pretty thin above. We'll go ahead and take a look. As you can see, past 450, it really has all sorts of range all the way up, and there's nothing too thick here yet. Now, gamma might change tomorrow afternoon sometime, showing us even more upside. So at that point, my thesis will change, and we'll put a huge X on everything I say today because gamma can change, and we can see and customer sentiment can go even more bullish, and we can continue going up. But right now, we don't see too much above. So what I'm looking for are pullbacks to 440 or 430 for longs. If we cannot hold 440, I will go ahead and try to continue shorting down to 430. If we hold 440, what I'd really like to do is short from around where we are now down to 440. If gamma holds, I will wait for the gamma update to roll through tomorrow morning before I'm sure. All right, so if we lose, if we can't break this area, I am looking to target this area and then potentially switch sides for the bounce up to 445, 447.5, and 450 again. If for some reason I get that part right and we lose that $10 and we cannot hold this, then I'm going to target midway 435 towards that 430. If we continue down, there's no way I'd still be in a con at this point. I take 20% wins. This would be a massive win. So maybe I'll keep a few runners if it all plays out my way. So once again, looking for a retrace to 440. If we cannot stay above 450, if we lose that, then perhaps 430 as well. But these are both areas we're looking to long. I am looking to long again back up to this 445, 447.5, and 450. Now, that being said, all of these the gamma could update tomorrow morning and everything could drastically change. So here's what I advise: take a look at the gamma 2 hours in and see if everything looks the same. If none of this has shifted too much, then you know that I am still eyeing these plays for myself. If everything has shifted drastically and we see huge pulls showing up here now, or all of a sudden huge pulls showing down here now, then that's just an X on all of those plays, right? Goes for every single one. Meta could change, this could change, Microsoft could change, and also our first play of Amazon could change. All of those levels could change. Their sentiment could change. Their dark pools could flip. But what I do like to point out is that this is how I start to plan. This is just as much an educational piece for you to view of how to kind of go to the platform and start looking for entries. What I like to do, what I really, really like to do is not trade until my targets are met. I don't just trade to trade. I wait for something to happen. I'm a very passive trader when it comes to it. I set alerts in TradingView and I wait for my things to pop up. So in this case right here, if we cannot break this 450, I'd have an alert set for about I don't know, 448 to see if we reject down, maybe 447 to see if we continue going down, and then maybe enter my short if the market looks good for that. Alternative to that, I'll have an alert set for about 441 as well to remind me that price could be approaching this 440. All right, for my long entry and an exit from my shorts if I am still in them. And the same thing with the 430. I think we can plan out with our support resistance levels, our dark pool levels, and our gamma levels kind of combined. We can start to get an idea of where price should hold. If it doesn't, where we switch our thesis so we're not bullish or bearish, depending on each day. We are more so along the lines of looking for entries for a specific thing if the market makes sense for that day. Just trying to simplify it for you to let you know that I don't watch charts all day long and look at every single thing. I do a lot of my planning just by going through on Sundays and searching for tickers and scanning. You have shown you that before, but plain and simple, I go to scanning and I look for support stocks at support, stocks at resistance, and then I just keep it that simple. So here we are in scanning. It's pretty simple. I just go through and I look for stocks at resistance, okay, and then stocks at support, and then I set my advanced as a minimum of $25 because I don't want to play a bunch of non-liquid tickers, plain and simple. And then from there, I start to go through and look to see what's near what. Sometimes something at resistance has just broken above support, so you do have to keep an eye on it. And sometimes things at support have broken just below that, and sometimes you have to anticipate if it could go up or down based on where your dark pools and your gamma might be, kind of tie that in together. All right, talked for a long time, tried to keep it a little bit simple for you, gave you a couple that look pretty clean. Meta was a little bit mixed, but I still think there's some good range there and some good potential in that play, just not sure which way yet. But Amazon is really to me a long overall. All right, just hoping that it holds those areas for me to do so. If it does, then I know what to do. And Microsoft had a really nice range as well for us to keep an eye on for both long and short. No bias there, just a thesis that the ticker could be played both ways. And I think it'll depend on how the market behaves each one of those days for us to do so. All right, everybody, have a good day. Stay safe out there and go get that Oprah money.